Hey, there we go. Good morning and welcome, everyone. This is day two of our Aquatic Lands Enhancement Account grant evaluations for our 2026 application year. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We got our advisory committee on the line to help us look at these projects and score them, which will ultimately result in a ranked list. And our applicants will be coming one at a time to share their projects. And yeah, Nick is here from Spokane Parks for the first one of the day. Again, thank you for being here. Let me share my screen again.
Thanks for having us. You can hear me okay, yeah?
I can hear you, yes. And it looks like, yeah, recording, live stream going. Looks like we're just about good to go. I will launch your PowerPoint, Nick, and then I can pass you controls if you'd like, or advance the slides for you.
You can pass me control, that'll work.
Okay, cool. All right, are you seeing that okay?
Yes.
Excellent. And committee members, you're all ready to go? Thumbs up. Excellent. Okay. All right, there you are. Click on the screen. Make sure that works for you.
Got it.
Sweet. All right, whenever you're ready, you got 20 minutes. Go right ahead.
Right on. Well, thank you, everybody. Happy day two of grant review. My name is Nick Hammett. I'm with the City of Spokane Parks and Recreation Division, and I'm here to present the Iron Bridge River Gateway project. This project goal is to develop one new non-motorized recreational water access point on the upper reach of the Spokane River within the city's University District. This significantly enhances river access upstream of the Spokane Falls and reduces unauthorized shoreline use we see in this area. We request RCO grant funding from the ALEA grant category in the amount of $500,000, which is approximately 25% of the estimated project cost. Additional grant funds are being requested through the WWRP Water Access Program, and remaining matching funds are being appropriated through local capital dollars. The project is located in the city of Spokane. This is Washington State's second most populous city. And at the time of the 2020 census, Spokane's population was approximately 229,000. The project site is within the east central portion of the city, within the city's Logan neighborhood and University District, located along the Spokane River, which bisects the city of Spokane east, north, and south. The city of Spokane is a small part of the larger 111-mile Spokane River. And within the city, we focus really on the urban stretch of the river within our city limits. And within these limits, you can see 8 existing boat access points circled in red there. Within this area, there are 2 distinct river reaches, upriver and downriver, which are separated by the Spokane Falls. The lower reach of the river is comprised of 4 well-developed launches. These launches are all downstream of the Spokane Falls. This is an image of the natural portion of the Spokane Falls. These falls are pretty dramatic and traditionally represent the barrier by which salmon could not pass. Just below the natural falls is the Monroe Street Dam, which further disconnects the lower and upper reaches of the Spokane River, creating a distinct character within the 2 stretches. And the lower reach is characterized by high volume urban waterfalls and whitewater rapid. The rapids can form at flows even above 10,000 CFS, and this is great water for rafting and fishing for rainbow and red band trout. As you can see here, the lower reach has received substantial previous investment in boat launches, with 4 new launches in the last decade, mostly for canoe, kayak, rafting, and drifting. There's good boat access generally there's good boat access along this lower reach of the river. While the lower reach features well-developed launches accessing whitewater, the upper reach above the Spokane Falls is accessed by 4 existing launches in various condition and has received significantly less investment than the lower reach. The project site of this application is located on the upper reach to improve water access in this area. The upper reach is characterized by relatively calm, flat water suitable for leisure and recreational paddling. This image is a short paddle downstream from the proposed water access point. Riverbank locations on the upper reach are almost all previously disturbed, with many still either overgrown with non-native vegetation or eroding due to social river access on the slope. Here's an image of one of the 4 existing boat access points along this reach. This is the last point to take a boat out on the upper reach of the river before or above the Spokane Falls. This is another view looking back the other direction, and you can see the Centennial Trail on this access point. If you go all the way to the uppermost access point along this upper reach of the river, you see this launch. Due to its close proximity to an active hydroelectric facility, this access point is often closed to the public or for dam safety and does not provide reliable access to users. So the nearest water access point to the project site is commonly used, but is an unimproved river access point used by individuals and organized group. The access here is relatively flat. However, the adjoining parking area requires paid parking, which creates a paywall barrier for users and prohibits full access. The amount of use in this location, however, does show the need for water access in this reach. Overall, along the Spokane upper reach of the river, water access is generally quite limited, both physically and visually, leaving river users scrambling to the water via social access trail. Where there is good visual access along the upriver reach, there is often significant grade change, which limits this access. And in these locations, we commonly see those unauthorized social access trails to the water. These trails damage the shoreline, and they're dangerous for users. They do, however, continue to illustrate public desire to access the water in this area. So the need for an additional improved boat access point on this stretch of the river is known and identified in 2 adopted local plans. The 2022 adopted Park Master Plan specifically identified developing additional water access points as a Tier 1 community priority. And the upriver reach was identified as the river stretch most in need of additional access improvements. Second, the South Logan TOD Plan, adopted in 2024, called to maximize riverfront connections, open space improvements, and access to the river. Specifically, it recommended working with the Parks Department and in partners to improve the west side of the Iron Bridge to activate and enhance the area along the Centennial Trail. That's our project site. Additionally, the Logan neighborhood, which is home of the project site, is designated as within the highest social and environmental equity priority within the city of Spokane. This classification reflects significant environmental pollution, pronounced environmental health disparity, and longstanding socioeconomic challenges within the neighborhood. Logan is an underserved neighborhood with limited access to the river, which further highlights the critical need for improved water access in this location. Now, to meet these identified needs, the project proposes improving the 1 new non-motorized boat launch for the use of canoers, kayakers, stand-up paddleboarders, and small rafts to deliver on those plan recommendations and to better satisfy those community desires we've been hearing. The proposed Iron Bridge access is located next to the Iron Bridge, hence the name, and the Centennial Trail. It's in a legacy industrial zone, which is gradually converting to collegiate and residential use. This is a view of that Iron Bridge, the namesake for the boat access, which is an existing local trail immediately adjacent to the proposed project. The proposed access is represented by the star in this image. This is another view to the proposed river access from standing on the Iron Bridge Trail. Looking at the boat launch location, or the proposed boat launch location from the bridge, you can see that it is heavily vegetated today, mostly with non-native invasive willow, but also with some native species. Looking north from the proposed launch, you can see the existing Centennial Trail, which would provide excellent pedestrian access to the future access point. As you stand on that boat access point and turn around, you can see adjacent road and Centennial Trail as well. The proposed project is within a 5-minute walk of multifamily housing and nearby retail business. Pictured here is No Lie Brewing. The river is currently inaccessible to both the housing and to the retail businesses in this vicinity. The Iron Bridge water access will allow for organizations and individuals to safely access this stretch of the Spokane River, allowing more use like this full moon float, which was organized by the Spokane Riverkeeper and launched from the unimproved river access point near this location. So when assessing this stretch of the riverbank for a new river access point, the proposed location was chosen due to its slope not being too steep, its proximity to housing and business, and its central location within the river reach. This makes the site a supremely suitable access point for canoes, kayaks, and paddleboard uses on both long and short water trips. The banks of the river are already being traversed in this location, and adding an improved water access ramp protects adjacent habitat from further erosion while providing the desired access. Proximity to local business, such as NOLI, offers an opportunity for river users to pull out of the river at this point for food and drink. Now, regarding the design, first and foremost, this project provides a 15-foot wide access ramp graded to a slope of approximately 11%. That's the sort of up and down arrow on the left. With a secondary meandering ADA accessible trail graded to a comfortable 5% slope, which is this curved route on the right. The primary ramp is gated to limit vehicular back down access to only authorized vendors, providers, and first responders. But it will still allow for the easy carry of boats from nearby parking. A closer look shows at the solid red line shows the main sort of pedestrian route to the launch, which is an ADA accessible ramp. The project also disconnects Superior Avenue, which is the roadway you're seeing here, to create two new cul-de-sacs with approximately 18 car parks, including space for trailers. This redesign increases parking capacity, slows vehicle speed through the area, and improves pedestrian safety by eliminating conflict with through traffic. If the parking stalls are full, there's parallel parking available both to the north and the south of this location, all the way up and down these roads. The project also enhances connection to both the Centennial Trail and the Iron Bridge trails, which are shown in the red lines, enhancing connectivity to nearby apartment homes and regional trail systems. Also provided is a dedicated pedestrian trail across Superior Avenue, so you don't have to walk across the road. The project removes non-native invasive vegetation and replaces that vegetation with suitable endemic plantings as recommended by the project biologist. The highlighted areas in red indicate areas of landscape enhancement proposed as a part of the project. In October of 2024, the firm Haley and Aldrich conducted a shoreline vegetation inventory and critical areas report, which notes sensitive riparian habitat, impaired water quality, and wetland and aquifer dependent areas at the Iron Bridge site. Construction may disturb native vegetation and wildlife and heighten water quality risks, but under the guidance of Haley and Aldrich, this project will be carefully managed to limit construction impact. The project also offers long-term benefits by restoring degraded shoreline condition, improving habitat, and providing safe river access for the underserved community. The city has worked with professional landscape architects, a biologist, and our park planning group to generate project costs. The budget includes construction costs and soft costs. Project designs and costs also include agency comment from the shoreline conditional use permit process, further increasing cost estimate accuracy. So Ecology has seen and commented on these designs. If grant funding is awarded, we expect the project to be bid ready by the end of 2027 and with construction to begin in the spring of 2028. So after the extremely successful Riverfront Park Bond implementation in Spokane's downtown, Parks recently completed the new extensive public outreach process for an updated park plan. Recognizing the need to improve park service throughout the city, we asked community at large to weigh in with their priorities. We connected with over 5,300 citizens through 26 plus public engagement opportunities. Engagement was conducted in 7 different languages via statistically valid survey, online mapping, conventional open houses, neighborhood meetings, and pop-up events in parks. The process even won the Community Involvement Award from the Washington State chapter of the American Planning Association. And the resulting plan identified developed water access points as a first-tier community priority for investment in our city park system. Since the completion of that citywide plan, the Spokane River Forum and city parks have held several community meetings and numerous stakeholder meetings to develop this project. Through these meetings, the community informed both the program elements within the project and the physical location of those elements, sort of yielding this current plan. We have also begun initial consultation with the Spokane Tribe of Indians and the Department of Ecology through the permit process. The project was actually initiated by the Spokane River Forum in response to the community desire and need, and is being collaboratively implemented by the Spokane River Forum, University District, and Spokane Parks. In fact, the River Forum and University District have funded all the design work and environmental study for this project, totaling approximately $50,000 to date. This is due to an existing partnership between the River Forum, University District, and Parks, and is also part of an ongoing program of investment in opening community access to the Spokane River. It is also supported by Avista Utilities, the Spokane River Forum, of course, the Logan Neighborhood Council, Gonzaga University, and numerous local citizens. We look forward to investing in the city's next access improvement in our river. Now, the citizens of Spokane have long desired to access this river more fully. As I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, it bisects our city. And over the past decade, Spokane Parks and our partners have made great progress in improving access. And while that access is excellent along the lower reach of the river, the upper reach is really in significant need of access improvements. So local funds have been secured for this project, and with grant funding provided by RCO, we look forward to delivering this water access improvement to our community. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Nick. Appreciate that. Whoops. All right, questions from the committee. Cindy, go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Nick. It was a great presentation. I think this is a great spot along the river. I grew up in Eastern Washington, and I think it's something that I like the idea that it's somewhere in a slow area for those of us who don't do anything but paddleboard. But I have a question for you. I see a structure there between the two circles. Is that a bus stop or is that a bathroom?
We show that as a sort of an informational kiosk and river map.
Okay.
Yeah, the idea would be that we'd probably initially place some portables in that location and adjacent to that facility, but that's mostly a wayfinding informational kiosk. And we use the Spokane River map is a thing that the River Forum does here. So that would host that map as well. So you kind of know where you are on the river.
Okay, but there are plans to at least put, my question was going to be, are there bathrooms there? Because
yeah, the plan right now would,
industrial.
Yeah, the plan right now would be a portable restrooms in this location. And that's for a couple of reasons, Cindy. One is, as this area is turning over, we don't want a permanent restroom facility to become like an attractive nuisance, which is a potential in this location. Okay. We want to provide that positive activation and really flex that capacity with the use as it demands. So our thought would be long-term to have such a permanent facility there, and we'd probably stub in for sewer, but that we would wait for that until we get our sort of use going here.
Great, thanks.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Yep.
Thank you. All right, other questions or any clarifications needed? We're back here to a couple design slides, just helpful to look at that. All right, anything else anybody needs or wants to look at? All right, well, I think you must have covered it all. So thank you, Nick. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, guys.
All right, thanks, you too.
Testing my microphone. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. I can, yes.
I was not coming through there, but my question wasn't super involved.
Okay, is there a slide you wanted to look at, or?
Oh, I just was more curious about, there was mention of like an award-winning engagement effort, and I didn't quite catch what that was. I think it would have been engagement.
Oh, for the public process and stuff. I didn't catch it either. Did someone else catch that? And we can reach back out to Nick. I think he hopped off already. We can reach back out to clarify unless someone heard.
All I caught was that it was I think it was an American Planning Association award for the local chapter, if I recall.
Specifically for their engagement effort.
I guess the parks plan.
Okay. And this presumably was part of that plan. Okay.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
And what I heard too was that 5,300 they got engagement from 5,300 individuals, which I thought was incredibly high when you look at some of the bigger city areas that, maybe got 2,000. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Right. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Does that help, Elise?
It does, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Hey, Carl, do you want to try to drag up on the bottom of the screen and see if the speaker notes are there? Could see it. I don't know if the script is written in there or not, but
Well, there you go. That's a good point. There's the 5,300, 27. Oh, yeah, that's right. Community involvement from the Washington State chapter of APA. Good idea, Haley. Thank you. So yes, it was on this slide here. All right. Well, it looks like Wacom is up next and Rod is here. Welcome, Rod.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, let me get to your PowerPoint pulled up, Silver Lake. This looks like development, public access, priority. So, Rod, I can pass you controls or advance the slides on your behalf, whatever your preference is.
I tell you what, let's try and I'll advance if I can do that.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'll pass it to you. You can see the screen, okay?
I can.
Okay, great. Let me find you. I gotta find you on my list. Okay, now click on the screen to activate it, and that should work for you. Make sure you can. There we go.
Okay, it looks like, okay. All right, that looks like it's working just perfectly. Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready, go ahead. You got 20 minutes.
All right. Good morning. My name is Rod Lamb, and I serve as the Parks Design and Development Manager for Whatcom County Parks and Recreation. Thank you for the opportunity to present our project proposal for Silver Lake Park, Lagoon Bridge, and path improvements. Over the past 17 years, I've managed several projects that renovate and improve Silver Lake Park, our most visited visited county park. Today, I'll explain how this project restores safe water access, improves accessibility, and responds directly to community priorities. Our project is located in northwest Whatcom County, about 32 miles east of Bellingham and 2 miles north of the foothills community of Maple Falls. The project site is within the main core of Silver Lake Park, where most visitors congregate and where primary day use and water access facilities are located. Silver Lake Park is Whatcom County's flagship regional park. The county acquired the former private fishing resort in 1966, and the park has remained a popular destination because it offers scenic lake access and a wide range of outdoor recreation. The 400-acre park supports camping, cabin and facility rentals, hiking, horseback riding, picnicking, swimming, fishing, boating, and seasonal rentals of canoes, kayaks, pedal boats, and paddle boards. The Lagoon Bridge and Path Improvements Project restores a beloved water access area and strengthens connections between park's main day use area, lakeside cabins, campgrounds, and restrooms, as well as the hiking trails. The project also advances 4 primary goals: eliminate unsafe conditions of the failing bridge, remove barriers that are built into that bridge that limit water access, improve water access opportunities for fishing and swimming, and last, improve intra-park connectivity. Criteria number 1, fit with public access goals. This project directly supports the ALEA public access goal. Access and accessibility sit at the center of the proposal. The work focuses on the shallow lagoon in the heavily used day use area where visitors gather for swimming, fishing, picnicking, and shoreline recreation. There are 3 main elements of our proposal. First, to create an accessible route to the Lagoon Bridge. Second, to replace the failing bridge with a barrier-free overwater structure. And third, to upgrade an existing lakeside hiking trail to meet accessibility standards. Several existing barriers limit access to the lake in the day use area. First, the gravel path does not provide a continuous accessible route from our lodge through the day use area to the bridge. Although the slopes are gentle, our maintenance staff can't consistently maintain the gravel surface in an accessible condition. Some areas also need regrading and widening. Second, the lagoon bridge poses significant safety risks to park visitors and staff. Due to these safety concerns, including damaged sections and unstable components, the bridge has been closed. A recent structural evaluation found that the underwater portions of the existing timber piles remain sound, with a rating of 8 out of 9 according to our structural engineer, or in excellent condition. Because the piles remain usable, we propose to repurpose them. This approach reduces our project costs and minimizes disturbance to the lake. Third, the lake trail does not meet accessibility requirements. The route has large root intrusions, experiences seasonal inundation, and has an aging non-accessible footbridge in need of replacement. The proposed improvements increase access to and around the park's most popular features. The accessible path connects the lodge to the bridge and nearby day use activities. The renovated bridge restores opportunities for swimming and fishing, and the lakeside trail improvement strengthens park connectivity and supports shoreline fishing and wildlife viewing. Criteria 3, need for public access, local priorities. Silver Lake Park is really unique. There isn't any comparable recreational facility within its 25-mile service area. The nearest would be Larrabee State Park, which is 40 miles away. Silver Lake Park operates year-round with the highest use in spring, summer, and fall when camping and overnight cabins are fully available. Community priorities also support this project. County residents have consistently identified water access as a top priority during the updates of the comprehensive park recreation and open space plan, including the most recent update that occurred in 2024. We've had recent outreach for this project specifically that has reinforced that message. Whatcom County closed the lagoon bridge because deteriorating conditions created safety risks for visitors and staff. The closure limited popular swimming and fishing access from the park. It also drew attention to related safety, environmental, and accessibility issues on the lakeside trail, where seasonal lake levels regularly inundate portions of the route. Whatcom County continues to grow. Our most recently updated comprehensive plan projects a population of more than 300,000 people by the year 2045, a 25% increase. As the population grows, we must ensure that county recreation facilities serve residents of all abilities. Currently, about 24% of residents live with a disability, which makes universal accessibility a core public service need. And although Silver Lake Park is a regional facility attracting many non-resident visitors, it's a vital resource to the local foothills community. Washington State Department of Health has designated the area bounded by the Mount Baker School District as a rural health equity zone. State law defines a health equity zone as a focused geographic area with measurable health disparities and an underserved community where local projects can improve health outcomes. Access to nature and outdoor recreation supports both physical and mental health, so these improvements can directly benefit the health equity zone community served by Silver Lake Park. Our project fulfills specific goals and policies of several local plans, including the county's comprehensive plan, where goal 9C relates to the expansion of recreation trails for hiking, walking, and boating, and policy 9C that encourages trails to be located in scenic areas such as in water courses. The Foothills Subarea Plan has a goal 9R4 of enhancing public access to foothills recreation opportunities and a policy R4 to improve access to shorelines. Finally, the project has also been identified as a priority in the department's comprehensive park recreation and open space plan and is included in the master capital improvement list. Criteria 5, project scope, public access. All 3 project components improve public access. The accessible path upgrades, the lagoon bridge renovation, and the lakeside trail upgrades. Together, they remove barriers, improve movement through the park, and reconnect visitors with the aquatic recreation around Silver Lake. The project creates an 8-foot wide accessible asphalt path for approximately 1,150 feet. This path will replace an inaccessible gravel surface trail to provide an all-weather access to the bridge. We considered pervious pavement options, but ultimately rejected that idea because of the high water table and nearby sandy swim beach that would create maintenance challenges. The bridge renovation removes the existing deck structure and rehabilitates the usable timber piles so they can support a new deck. The preliminary design includes 2 expanded deck areas, one for swimming and one for fishing. The lakeside trail work widens the route to a consistent 6 feet, installs a 3/8-inch crushed surfacing top course, and replaces an existing log stringer bridge with a steel truss bridge. The trail alignment will be moved upslope so visitors can use the trail year-round. We'll also stabilize abandoned trail sections with restoration plantings that tolerate fluctuating lake levels. Combined, the 3 project elements focus on removing barriers and in doing so facilitate access for all park users. Criteria 8, design development fit. As I've mentioned throughout the presentation, the project centers on access. These improvements will make Silver Lake Park more usable, more welcoming, and better connected for users of all abilities. The next few slides dive deeper into the details of each project element. First, the accessible route connects the lodge to the bridge. We'll use the existing path network as a framework and replace selected routes with an accessible path through the day use area. High contrast materials will support wayfinding and improve experience for visitors with impaired vision. The path also connects visitors to nearby day use areas where they can rest, picnic, watch wildlife, and enjoy the lake. Next along the route is the existing overwater structure. The lagoon bridge is a central component that connects park visitors and campers throughout the site. But the bridge does more than cross the water. It connects the park visitors and campers. It anchors the day use area and provides direct access for fishing, swimming, and nature viewing. The design recognizes activities that define the Silver Lake experience, swimming and fishing. We've separated these uses along the length of the structure, locating the swimming platform on the southern end and the fishing platform on the north. The image on the lower right of this slide is a close-up of the swim platform, showing swim ladders to facilitate access and composite decking for swimmer comfort and benches for seating. The northern platform will focus on fishing access. There are benches for seating as well as lowered railings on both sides to provide accessible fishing opportunities. There have been questions about whether swimming and fishing can coexist. However, park staff and community members report that conflicts are very minimal because peak seasons and times of day of those activities often differ. Where swimming peaks midsummer and occurs usually at the midday, fishing is most popular in the spring and fall, occurring in the early morning and late afternoon. This slide illustrates a few of the design details of the bridge structure. The bridge deck will be primarily fiberglass grating in order to achieve light penetrating thresholds of 50%. Water access zones on the swim platform will incorporate composite decking for user comfort. The fishing platform will feature 32-inch safety rails to accommodate fishers who use mobility devices and bench seating for ambulatory fishers. The final component of the project, let's take a closer look at the Lakeside Trail located along the northwestern edge of the lagoon. The trail will be rerouted landward, away from the lake edge to eliminate seasonal inundation. Trail grades will be designed to meet accessibility standards, and a 3/8-inch cross-surfacing top course will facilitate access for wheeled mobility devices. This slide features a representative gravel surface trail and a steel truss bridge envisioned for the project. The bridge shown was installed at a different facility of ours in 2018, and cost data from that project was used in developing our current cost estimate, although the 2018 costs were escalated to account for inflation. Criteria 9, development design budget. We developed the project budget using bid tabs from previous projects, manufacturer quotes, and quantity takeoffs generated from AutoCAD. We also use estimating resources such as RS means. In total, our project estimate is just over $1.2 million and does include a construction contingency of 30%. The project schedule accounts for U.S. Army Corps of Engineer permitting approval requirements, as well as seasonal in-water work windows. Based on those constraints, we anticipate completing the project in 2029. Criteria 11, project engagement methods. The department is engaged with the community through a combination of strategies, including an online visitor survey, community meetings, and stakeholder engagement. It's in September of 2025, the department met with residents at an East County Community Council meeting. We introduced the project and heard initial feedback. Used that input to shape our community engagement approach. In early 2026, the department launched a community survey for park users and residents. We sent the survey to people who had rented the facilities at Silver Lake Park and promoted it through flyers, the web, and social media posts and local partners, including the East Whatcom Community Council. More than 1,100 people responded, and their input helped shape the design presented today. Survey results indicated that more than 90% of people believe the bridge is somewhat or very important to their experience when visiting the park. The survey also found that what activities people engaged in most often when visiting Silver Lake Park, and found that more than 90% of those surveyed either use trails often or sometimes when visiting, and more than 50% of respondents engaged in swimming and or fishing when visiting. When asked how visitors would use the Lagoon Bridge if it was rebuilt, the responses closely match current use patterns. This tells us the project does not create an unfamiliar new amenity. It preserves well-loved uses and makes them safer and more accessible. Criteria 12, project engagement methods. At the April 2026 meeting, we asked residents how they used Silver Lake Park and what makes it special. Staff explained why the bridge closed and described the deteriorating condition, and invited community to help shape the path forward. We organized the meeting around 3 discussion themes: recreation access, environmental consideration, and design elements. Community members spoke directly with park staff, asked questions, and shared ideas beyond the categories that we provided as well. Community members strongly supported preserving and restoring the Lagoon Bridge. They also clearly asked us to preserve and expand swimming access. We also heard community support for integrating durable replacement materials into any renovation solution, while balancing that effort with delivering a cost-effective design. After that meeting, park staff developed the preliminary design and project approach shown in this proposal. On June 24th, Parks held a second community meeting to present our current proposal. The community received the proposal well, even though there were many residents understandably frustrated by the length the project schedule would likely take. However, even so, the community's message was clear: let's get to work, and let's get to work now. Criteria 13, project engagement partnerships. Community partnerships have strengthened this project. Through outreach with local stakeholders, the department has coordinated with the East Whatcom Community Council and the Chuckanut Health Foundation to connect the project with broader recreation and health outcomes. Coordination with the East Whatcom Community Council has been instrumental in promoting and hosting public engagement opportunities associated with the projects to receive meaningful public input, as previously discussed. The community's desire has also been informed through the Parks Department participation over the past year, with the previously mentioned health equity zone process being led by the Chuckanut Health Foundation. Our nonprofit partner, the Whatcom Parks Foundation, also supports the project and has donated $3,500 to help fund it. Our Citizen Advisory Committee, the Whatcom County Park and Recreation Commission, supports the proposal, as does the Nooksack Salmon Enhancement Association, who is also committed to partner with the county on the lakeshore restoration to realign the trail. That concludes the presentation of the Silver Lake Park Access Improvement Project. I really appreciate the opportunity and the time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you, Rod. All right, questions from the committee? Chris, go ahead.
Thanks, Rod. Great job on the presentation.
Thank you.
A quick question, and maybe I just missed it in the slide that showed the design of the pier or float going across the pond. Is there, and I guess I'm asking because on that last slide, there's a question about paddling and kayaking. Is there a spot that people can go under this, or is this whole thing kind of floating? So preclude boats from like the inside?
It does do that. The current bridge has a section that is raised that allows people to paddle within that lagoon. However, it's also the barrier that makes it inaccessible. We had a lot of really good discussion with the community members about that. And it's interesting. It is a popular use to go under the bridge, but people don't really stay there. It's more of a experience, like a rite of passage, and then people pop right out in the main part of the lake because it's pretty limited area, and the water gets a little bit murky, and it's more of an experience to pop under and then pop back out. And we felt that providing that accessible route, continuous from the lodge all the way over to our cabins and cabin area, kind of trumped that experience. But I appreciate the question.
Yeah. No, that's great answer. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Other questions or anything you want to clarify or go back and take another look at? Brittany.
Hi, thanks, Rod. Great presentation.
Thank you.
And again, I also may have missed this. Can you show me on this map where the put-in for those boats would be?
So the bridge itself, the renovation won't have a dedicated put-in location for boats. We have a boat access, a ramp that's located within the day use area that we encourage people to launch their boats. That being said, people do often use the swimming platform to launch paddle boards and kayaks. It'll be a low level. So people use that activity. We wouldn't discourage that, but it's not a dedicated kayak or paddleboard launch. It's actually a swimming access where we have swim access bars or swim ladders to get in and out of the water. But it could also easily facilitate human powered devices.
Gotcha. So the formal put-in is not part of this project, although
Correct.
people can use it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
There
Yeah,
find a graphic to show that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this side here.
Yeah. Facilitating access for small boats could be handled on the the swimming platform. The fishing platform has a railing that goes all the way around it. Yep.
But not on each side of the swimming.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, good. Other questions? All righty. Well, thank you, Rod. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for the time.
Right.
I really appreciate it.
For sure. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Take care.
Okay, we've arrived a little early at a break. Break is supposed to be at 10. Why don't we come back at 10 instead, stay 15 minutes ahead. We'll see if we can get Seattle and the next couple presenters here early. So see you at 10 o'clock.
Liftoff of mission 41B, the first flight of the ALEA Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
Alrighty, welcome back. Hey Mo, thank you so much for joining early. Continuing to run ahead
Bet.
of schedule
How you doing, Carl?
today. Yeah. All right.
Hopefully I can advance the slides myself today, but
Well, we'll see.
yeah.
I'll launch it here and pass controls over to you, see what
All
happens.
right.
All right. Can you see it okay?
I can see it just fine.
Excellent. I'll find your name. There we go. Click on the screen, make sure that's working. Looking
Oh yeah,
good.
it's working much better now.
All right.
That's great.
Cool. Well, looks like we're back and ready to roll. So go right ahead. You got up to 20 minutes if you need it.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right.
Thanks.
Well, my name is Moshe Hecht. I'm the grant manager for Seattle Parks and Recreation, and I am presenting the Arboretum Waterfront Trail Phase 2 project. Washington Park Arboretum, known simply as the Arboretum, is located in Seattle, Washington, in Union Bay between the Montlake Cut and Lake Washington. The Arboretum is approximately 350 acres with about 100 acres of aquatic lands. The trail connects to multiple local, regional, and state trails and provides critical access to the marsh, multiple hand launch sites, and a unique natural experience here in Seattle. The project provides access to the largest, most significant wetlands on Lake Washington shoreline, and these wetlands serve as important habitat for federally listed species, including juvenile Chinook salmon and nesting bald eagles. The project for which we are seeking grant funding is to replace 2 overwater trail sections that are beyond their useful lives. These trails connect the mainland on the left to the Marsh Island in the middle and to Foster Island on the right of the screen. Based on a professional analysis, the existing floating trail and footbridges are in critical condition and at risk of complete failure. If we do nothing, access to this treasured resource will disappear. The creosote contaminated piles will continue to rot and leach contaminants into habitat for migrating salmon, and this local treasured trail and resource for environmental learning will be lost. Access will be cut off to thousands of visitors each year. The floating boardwalk and bark paths offer immersive opportunities to observe wildlife and wetlands, supporting quiet recreation, birding, wildlife encounters, and support for canoe and pedestrian users. There is new emphasis on ADA access and improved non-motorized boat access. This project provides the necessary access from recreationalists to University of Washington students to walk through the willows, alders, and cottonwoods to study local herons, Chinook salmon, and song sparrows. And this is from our 60% design plans. The trail network was originally built in 1972 with the support of the Recreation Conservation Office. The top photo on the left is a photo I took of the trailhead just a couple of months ago. The 2 footbridges are failing and portions of the abutments are sinking. With your investment, we will rebuild and improve access to these freshwater wetlands. The island's function is a critical stepping stones along Arboretum's waterfront trail, enabling continuous interpretive corridor through this ecosystem of aquatic lands. This riparian environment supports diverse wildlife, including waterfowl such as American coots, bitterns, blue herons, Canadian geese, and cutthroat trout and sockeye and Chinook salmon in nearshore areas. The site is regularly used by University of Washington students doing research in the wetlands and by the many youth programs. This is an educational sanctuary that we aim to protect and preserve access to. Currently, the trail is heavily used by hikers, naturalists, recreational fishermen, and people seeking respite from city life. Its gentle access to miles of trail provides an immersive and restorative experience. The public wants year-round access. With Phase 1 currently underway, this phase of the project, Phase 2, is the critical next step. And we are already exploring design options for phase 3, which will elevate portions of the upland trail to get hikers out of the mud during the wet season. Within minutes, you have left the city and are immersed in the wetlands with stunning views and surrounded by wildlife. The trail connects to multiple sites for swimming and hand-launching boats. In fact, the first water access is right at the head of the trail. This is an extremely popular site for non-motorized boating because of the amazing habitat and views. We are taking great care in our design to reintegrate the new bridges and floats into the physical environment. This project will better accommodate lake level changes, particularly at the abutments, and we are using robust, non-toxic materials. Though there are many formal opportunities, some of the most powerful interpretive moments happen organically along the route. Wildlife sightings, marsh plant identification, salmon habitat observation, and seasonal changes in the wetlands all strengthen public recognition of these wetlands as a valuable natural heritage. For those of us in the city, this project increases public awareness that aquatic lands are finite, ecologically critical, and part of our irreplaceable public heritage. Preventing critical failure of the aging trail infrastructure directly protects nearshore marsh and riparian habitat from erosion, sedimentation, and repeated disturbance. By improving aquatic habitat quality and stabilizing the overwater structures, the project safeguards sensitive fish and wildlife areas that depend on calm, well-functioning shoreline systems. Native plantings further strengthen wetland and riparian ecological function, improving water quality and long-term habitat resilience. The marsh and riparian zones of these aquatic lands support a remarkably diverse community of wildlife, including Chinook salmon, more than 80 bird species, and numerous small mammals, amphibians, and reptiles. These habitats provide feeding, nesting, shelter, and migration corridors essential to the ecological health of Union Bay. Reed Middleton recently studied the overwater structures. They identified multiple issues that could lead to catastrophic structural failure. Here you can see some of the deficiencies they identified. If left ignored, sections of the trail will fail and sink. Others will continue to corrode and leach heavy metals, and the piles will continue to leach creosote and other chemicals into the habitat for migrating salmon. We need your support to replace the deteriorating structures and remove creosote-contaminated piles, eliminating toxic inputs that leach into the surrounding marsh and nearshore waters. Within the service area, there are many other parks, but none with the immersive trail network that exists in the Arboretum, and no other commensurate wetlands to speak of. The existing access is unreliable and becoming unsafe due to infrastructure failure. The existing floating walkway is frequently submerged, unstable, and impassable during high lake levels, cutting off access. This failure prevents the public from safely reaching aquatic lands, creating a significant gap in reliable year-round access. Current conditions do not meet ADA standards, leaving people with mobility limitations unable to access nearshore wetlands, wildlife viewing areas, or educational features. The service area offers no comparable facility that provides barrier-free access to freshwater marshlands, making this project essential for equitable public access. The Arboretum has a comprehensive trail network and many amenities as seen here. As you can see on the right, the footbridges are the only through access to this living, learning ecosystem. These two footbridges connect Montlake Park to the city's largest wetland. The trail is heavily used for walking, wildlife viewing, environmental education, and water-adjacent experiences. But its use fluctuates seasonally because high lake levels frequently submerge or destabilize the aging floating walkway and marsh paths. Demand spikes during early spring and summer when visitors seek close-to-home access to wetlands, bird habitat, and shoreline experiences. However, these are the same periods when access is most compromised because of the elevated lake levels. These are clippings directly from the University of Washington's Botanic Gardens homepage. As awareness grows and as the Seattle Botanic Garden expands educational programming, the site is expected to see even higher year-round use, making reliable access essential, especially for ADA users, families, and field-based learning groups currently limited by infrastructure failure. Based on our survey, with over 2,500 responses, people reported they use this trail for enjoying and learning about nature, exercise, and spending time with friends and family. The project provides gentle access to miles of trail with phase 1 currently underway. This phase of the project, phase 2, is the critical next step, and we are planning it with accessibility in mind. We are already exploring design options for the third phase, again, which will elevate portions of the upland trail. According to data, when we were first planning this project, there were over 24,000 monthly visits demonstrating the huge need and community support for this treasured trail. This project is directly tied to long-standing planning documents, including the Washington Park Arboretum Master Plan, the Overwater Structures Assessment, the Metropolitan Park District Cycle 2, and the 520 Replacement and Mitigation Plan. As you will see, we also performed extensive community outreach and received overwhelming support. During environmental review, WashDOT coordinated with the Arboretum partners and explicitly used the 2001 Arboretum Master Plan to determine which trail and habitat projects in the Arboretum should be funded as State Route 520 mitigation measures. Part of the project's funding comes from mitigation dollars associated with State Route 520 reconstruction. The project site contains a mix of freshwater marshlands, riparian vegetation, shoreland wetlands, and overwater boardwalk structures. The natural features include cattail marshes, wetland channels, and habitat used by salmon, waterfowl, and other wildlife. The built features consist of aging floating walkways, soft surface trails, small bridges, and older pile-supported segments at the end of their useful lives. With your support, we will replace failing boardwalks and floating walkway components, remove the contaminated and deteriorated piles, construct new elevated environmentally sensitive trail segments designed to withstand seasonal water level changes. The trail will be a low barrier accessible trail. There is ample parking on either end of the trail, numerous hand-lot sites along the way, and includes mitigation for underwater ground disturbing activities, such as installing the new piles. The renovated trail will offer year-round walking, wildlife viewing, photography, bird watching, and quiet nature immersion in a rare, accessible freshwater marsh environment within the city. These sections are the sections at stake that will be renovated and replaced. By connecting this Arboretum Trail network, the project enhances regional recreational continuity, expanding opportunities for low-impact outdoor recreation tied directly to aquatic and wetland resources. Recreation opportunities include miles of walking trails, bird watching, exercising, running, socializing, fishing, and hiking. Other opportunities include relaxing, meditating, enjoying nature, and kayaking. And I even saw somebody bike their kayak with a bike rack and park it there at the head of the trail so that they could launch their boat right at the site. This is not simply a replacement. It is a thoughtful upgrade with new accessibility improvements, removal of creosote contaminated piles, and built to allow passage by small non-motorized boats. We are currently at 60% design. We have completed Section 106 and secured the required Army Corps permit. This project will be construction ready as soon as funding is made available. The design is modular, allowing us to reuse any section of trail that are still in great condition without compromising on the longevity of improvements. This creates a significant cost savings. Part of our mission at Seattle Parks and Recreation is to create and nurture a thriving environment. We seek your funding today to provide us the necessary funding to remove creosote contaminated piles and failing float sections that, if left ignored, will significantly degrade the immediate underwater ecosystem. These are elements we do not currently have sufficient funding for. Here you can see some of the deficiencies they identified, and if left ignored, the trail will fail and sink. Others will continue to corrode and leach the heavy metals, and the piles will continue to leach the creosote. Our plan is to prevent the critical failure and remove toxic elements. And we have the mitigation plan in place for the underwater disturbance. We are committed to making this trail as accessible as possible. These floating pathways and footbridges are just the start. And here you can see how we're thinking through the accessibility design. With the funding available we can only extend the useful life of the project 5 to 10 years by effectively making repairs to the overwater trail sections. We do not have enough funding to remove the piles or other galvanized materials. With your support, we can remove that contamination and replace them with resin-coated or aluminum piles, mitigating ongoing habitat damage. We can stop the chemical leaching into the wetlands and nearshore fish habitat, directly improving water quality and ecological function. Here we go. We are quite confident in our cost estimate. We are currently replacing a similar section of trail phase 1, also supported by the Recreation Conservation Office. We have approved a bid from Redside Construction, and we have a professional cost estimate from Otsakai, and have been working with the design team at KPFF. All of these have informed our current design estimate. Again, we are at 60% design documentation and expect to be at 100% design in early 2027. Because we have already secured our Army Corps permit and other key permits, this project can be built without delay. We have done extensive outreach for the project, both site-specific and larger department-wide outreach. We have been working with local partners like the University of Washington, residents, and tribal outreach. Outreach consisted of public meetings, surveys, conversations, and thousands of mailers. In total, we had over 2,500 responses to our survey, the vast majority of which used the trail on a regular basis. We have sought feedback on the project both from the tribes and via 8. This project has very strong support from neighbors to institutions. Here's just one of the many comments we received from a local community member impacted by the project and a 30-year regular user of the trail. We need it for our own peace and quiet and restful restoration of the soul. But our children and grandchildren need it even more to connect themselves to the planet, to ground themselves in a place to love nature so they will preserve it. People love this trail with its unprecedented wildlife views and immersive experience. The trail is complex with overwater structures and long sections that travel through wetlands. Based on public feedback, we have structured the project into 3 manageable phases. Phase 1, Foster Island Overwater Trail, is currently in construction. Phase 2, Connecting Footbridges and Pathways. This is the project for which we are seeking funding today. And Phase 3, Elevating sections of the upland portions of trail, making it dry and accessible year-round. Washington Park Arboretum is managed in partnership with the Arboretum Foundation and the University of Washington Botanic Gardens, now Seattle Botanic Gardens. We've even worked with Friends of groups like Friends of Arboretum Creek and the Seattle Parks Foundation to preserve and protect this park. We've had dozens of conversations with these groups about this project and the many others throughout the park. The Arboretum is not a conglomeration of different park elements, but a living, thriving ecosystem. To help preserve habitat for migrating salmon, birds, and other native species, here you can see a group of volunteers and professionals working together to preserve Arboretum Creek, which spills out just east of the project site. Though not directly tied to the project, both riparian and marsh habitats on the island would significantly degrade without the efforts of groups like Friends of Arboretum Creek and the Seattle Botanic Gardens. These groups regularly secure external funding and provide thousands of hours of volunteers to maintain this regional treasure. Phase 2 is far more than a simple trail repair. It is a targeted mitigation-focused investment that prevents emergency failure, removes creosote-contaminated piles, and protects one of Seattle's most sensitive nearshore wetlands. No other park in the service area provides ADA-accessible, immersive passage through a functioning freshwater marsh, making this project essential to preserving equitable access while safeguarding habitat for salmon, waterfowl, and the more than 80 species that depend on this island. Our design stays within the existing footprint, honors the Arboretum Master Plan, fulfills State Route 520 mitigation commitments, and integrates community feedback from the more than 2,500 survey responses. With your support, we can prevent imminent infrastructure collapse, eliminate legacy toxic materials, and ensure that future generations continue to learn from and enjoy this irreplaceable wetland sanctuary. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mo. Appreciate that. All right. Questions from the committee? Heather, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Great presentation. Can you just talk a little bit more about the partnerships piece of it? You kind of talked about the Creek Friends group. Will they be helping with this specific project at all, or will there be any other groups that will be partnering on this piece of it?
On this piece of the project, it's really led by Seattle Parks and Recreation. We have the initial funding that I said from State Route 520. But as you like one of the things that the the different groups do there is they actually manage the tree canopy there throughout the park and the gardens. They do a lot of just sort of restoration work throughout the entire park, work that we don't have to have our city staff do and maintain. So while the actual construction is led by us, the whole ecosystem is really maintained by this whole conglomeration of partners. If that makes sense.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Go ahead, Brittany.
Hi, Mo.
Hi.
Thanks for the presentation.
Yeah.
In the need for public access local priorities section, you had a map of the park. And then there was a section that was for like WashDOT, I think probably bridge replacement.
Yep.
And I'm just curious to know how that might impact water access, if at all.
Oh, actually, if you go back to the slide we were on, that very last slide, I can.
I'm going to jump back to the beginning bit.
Next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you can see 520 right there to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And that bridge replacement has already, that work is already in play and is already moving forward. And on the other side of that bridge, there's a whole staging area that's kind of a mess. As soon as that bridge replacement is done, that staging area is going to go away and will be reintegrated into the park. And as they've thought about the construction, what they did is they thought through, trails like this one. So this will actually, the rest of the Arboretum Park is on the other side of 520. So this trail winds through the wetlands here. Sorry, you can't even see my hand pointing. It winds through. And then when you get over to Foster Island, it actually goes underneath 520 where there's more wetlands. And then you get up into the mainland of the park where you have more of the park trails. And so there's no adverse impact to what we're working on here. It's actually been thoughtfully integrated into the overall master plan. So if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thanks.
Yeah.
It just looked like just adjacent to the, water access. I wasn't sure if, there was going to be no water access until the bridge was fully done or what, but thank you for that.
Yeah, the water access is there. Again, I saw that person just yesterday. I took my dog out there and people are out there using it for sure right now. So.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Other questions from the committee or anything you want to clarify?
I'll just add one tidbit. probably is not going to help
Sure.
my story at all. But when we were out there yesterday, I was just walking along with my earbuds and I could just hear all the birds singing. And then I saw this whole sort of blackberry vine, which is an invasive probably there, um, but it was really sweet to look up and see the birds feasting on the blackberries right above my head. And you know, that's the kind of immersive experience that people get when they walk through this trail, which I just really adored, honestly. So
Yeah, nice. All right. Well, thank you, Mo. Appreciate
yeah,
you
thank you all.
presenting.
Yeah,
All right. Have a great day.
good to see you.
All right. I think we're heading over to Chelan County, to Kashmir. And all right. Hello. Welcome. This for you when it lets me. It's taking a minute. There we go. Okay. All right. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
All right, great. And I can pass you control or advance the slides for you. What do you prefer?
I'll take control.
Okay. Go ahead and click on the screen and make sure that works. Looks like you got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being here a little early. I know we're ahead of schedule. Appreciate that. And you have 20 minutes, so go right ahead.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Erin McKay with Chelan County Natural Resource Department. I'm presenting on the Kashmir Boat Ramp Side Channel Restoration Project. And this is a partnership between the county and the city of Kashmir. The county, my department, has lots of experience with RCO grants and implementing restoration and other in-water work projects in main stem rivers. So we're bringing the capacity and the expertise and helping the city with this, but this is really a shared goal between the county and the city. So the project location is on the eastern side of the Cascades in central Washington near Wenatchee. We're in southern Chelan County, closest to the populated areas of Wenatchee, Kashmir, and Leavenworth. And the project itself is located within the city limits of Kashmir. It's along the lower Wenatchee River, which is a very popular river recreation zone starting in Leavenworth and going down valley to Monitor and then onto the confluence with the Columbia River near Wenatchee. This is a combination development and restoration project designed to improve non-motorized water access as well as improving habitat for ESA or Endangered Species Act listed species. There are spring chinook, steelhead, and bull trout that inhabit this stretch of the Wenatchee River. As you can see in this aerial photo, the boat ramp itself is located in a side channel off of the Wenatchee. And the side channel is, the inlet of the side channel is starting to fill in with willow and vegetation. And then that vegetation traps sediment and is effectively cutting off access to the boat ramp and to the side channel over time. So this photo in the top right corner shows conditions at lower flows and is showing how that aggradation is cutting off access to the side channel. So how does this project fit with our public access goals? Again, this is water access for non-motorized boating and paddling. The site is highly utilized by both locals and visitors to the area for rafting, kayaking, tubing, supping, and just getting to the water from the park and from the town of Kashmir. This stretch of river from Leavenworth to Kashmir is the most popular Class 3 whitewater reach in the state of Washington. So it's very highly utilized in the springtime during higher flows. And you can see how the park infrastructure really accommodates that use very well. This is one of only 2 developed access sites on this stretch of the Wenatchee River. One is in Leavenworth at the put-in, and the other is here in Kashmir. And it is the only site with paved parking, bathrooms, a park, and amenities close by. It provides a hardened point for river access and prevents damage to riparian areas surrounding the ramp. It's also used for swiftwater. It's also used for swiftwater emergency rescue access. It's the only spot that the swiftwater rescue boat can get in the water and go up or down to do river rescue. In terms of protection goals, the Wenatchee River is, as I mentioned, home to multiple endangered fish species. So that's really a priority for protection goals, but protecting riparian habitats is also a protection goal here. Side channels in particular provide important rearing habitat for these endangered species. Our local biological strategy, which is a prioritization tool, identifies side channel connections as the highest priority restoration action in the lower Wenatchee River. There's also hyporheic flow in the side channel, meaning we do have cold water inputs that can help provide colder water in the heat of the summer, which is also an important aspect of habitat for those endangered species. Department of Fish and Wildlife has provided a lot of input on the project, and they are quoted in their letter of support as saying, maintaining and improving this access site is critical to sustainably managing recreation use in the area. And in addition, the project will benefit ESA-listed species that rely on side channel habitat during multiple life stages. So that's talking about this specific project. So this project will address these goals by increasing the flow duration into the side channel, both for access to the boat ramp and for fish habitat. So need for public access and local priorities. As I mentioned, this is the only developed boat ramp with amenities. So it's a really critical spot to keep accessible. Our comprehensive plan points out that water access is a very high priority for residents of Chelan County. In a public survey that was put out for our last comprehensive plan update that had over 1,300 responses, public water access to rivers in Chelan County is the second highest overall recreation priority in the whole county. And then the score also shows a double-digit increase in paddle sports since 2017. So we do expect to see continued and increased use at this site. And back to the importance of side channels and our endangered species, the need for protection. Due to human impacts, anthropogenic impacts in the lower Wenatchee, the river is severely lacking in side channel and off channel habitat. And it also has a Department of Ecology 303D listing for water temperature, meaning the water temperatures are getting too high in the summer to support good fish habitat. Side channel habitat is the highest priority for juvenile rearing in the lower Wenatchee, according to multiple documents. Multiple published documents. So this project also complements ongoing efforts for habitat restoration above and below this project area in the Wenatchee River. This is a photo of a side channel restoration project in the Monitor side channel, which is just a couple miles downstream from this project area. And it has, as you can see, installation of large wood structures. So this project will benefit these ESA-listed salmonids by increasing off-channel habitat availability and for juvenile rearing, and also increasing riparian vegetation on the outside bar. And it will also provide longer access to cold water inputs in the side channel. So project scope. In terms of public access. So this project is, the scope includes boat ramp renovation, which includes some upgraded riprap and flagstone steps to increase safety. But it also includes regrading of the side channel to establish long-term access and sustainability of the boat ramp in its current location. So this is the 60% preliminary engineered design set that was developed by Recreation Engineering and Planning for us for this project. And so one of the main design components is excavating the side channel to reduce the angle that the water has to turn and come into the boat ramp. So it straightens out this channel. The excavated material would be placed on the outside bar to better establish that outside bar. And then there will be flow splitting features placed at the apex of that bar and they would be boulders, large boulders, to encourage a split flow into the side channel to hydraulically maintain flows. And then the vegetation that would be removed from the existing channel and the corner here would be replaced and replanted out on the outside bar. So with the goal of providing long-term access for non-motorized recreation, but also that increased flow for the side channel. Site suitability for protection. So this site is unique in that it offers opportunity for both water access and recreation and restoration by restoring that inlet connection, the side channel connection. The project will increase duration and quantity of flows to the side channel, which will better support the juvenile rearing in the summer months and access to those cold water inputs. The right-hand edge, well, you can see in this photo, this is at the lowest of flows when the channel is completely cut off. There still is water in the side channel, indicating that groundwater, presence of groundwater, which is typically a cold water input. So the right-hand side of the channel downstream is rip-wrapped, as that's kind of the edge of the park. But the left-hand edge of the channel does provide opportunity for increased vegetation and complexity. The site has been used as a boat ramp for a long time, and it experiences heavy use. So we rather than moving the boat ramp and creating a whole new impact in a different place, we will be utilizing this existing infrastructure and having that additional benefit of habitat improvement. We can't put wood structures in the lower side channel in this site because of the high recreation use, like there was at the other restoration site that I showed in the last slide. And that would make it more difficult to get restoration funding through typical salmon project habitat funding programs like the surfboard. But this ALEA program is the perfect fit for this, as it does have the combination of recreation access and improved habitat in the side channel. So the project, the project design fit. Why is this the right project for this site? So we did do a feasibility study in 2024 to look at different options or different locations for a boat ramp. But ultimately, the current location is the most suitable site due to the existing infrastructure and lack of other suitable sites. There just isn't a better spot to have a boat ramp on the Wenatchee in this area, and it would create a whole new impact to create a new boat ramp. So we're confident that this is the right site for this project. Again, the 60% designs were developed in coordination with the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the overall goal is to hydraulically maintain the side channel with the design elements. This project is also designed to improve safety and sustainability of the boat ramp. As I mentioned before, the current conditions are creating a real hazard for folks getting off the river at this site, in the sense that it's very shallow and there's a lot of vegetation and there's risk of people having to get out of boats and foot entrapment, and it's just a bad situation. If this project were not implemented, the site would continue to deteriorate, the boat ramp would become extremely hazardous or completely unusable, which would effectively limit use and river recreation on the Wenatchee, period, because there are no other sites with this type of infrastructure in place. Our Cost estimate was developed on based on those preliminary 60% designs. There is a contingency included, knowing that the implementation would be a couple years out from when this budget was developed. The cost estimate also includes final design and permitting. And we can start with this project immediately. We have the 60% preliminary designs, and we are poised to start work on this project with an estimated implementation date of 2028 after we go through the final design and permitting. The restoration design and viability. So as I've mentioned, the overall goal is to increase the side channel connection at all flows, and therefore creating these hydraulic conditions that will maintain the side channel over time and reduce the aggradation of sediment at the inlet. And as I mentioned already, the whole channel being regraded and flow splitting features being placed at the top of the bar will achieve this goal of creating those right hydraulic conditions. The project won't change existing uses or require more management. In fact, it's designed to promote long-term sustainability at this site. There's already a lot of use, and we expect more use. So this is really just a sustainability question. There may be need for occasional boat ramp maintenance, and that would be under the purview of the city, who holds the DNR aquatic lands lease. So we have the 60% engineered designs, and the engineer, I do have a quote from the engineer to back up what they expect to see with those designs. And from their quote is that we expect the increased flow to maintain the channel and don't anticipate deposition. We expect the project to function well for accessing the boat ramp for up to 3 decades. And then from WDFW, I already said this part, but they say that maintaining and improving this access is critical to sustainably managing recreation use in this area. There are funds. There is a fee charged to the commercial outfitters that utilize this boat ramp, and those funds from those commercial use permits are used to do regular maintenance of the boat ramp to help with maintenance, long-term maintenance. Project engagement. The county and the city of Kashmir have engaged with local outfitters and recreation groups to get feedback on project need and design methods. In fact, it's the recreation and outfittering groups who have really expressed concern over the deteriorating conditions of the boat ramp for years and have really brought this to attention and have worked with us to move this project forward. We've had site visits with engineers, permitting agencies. This is a photo of Steve, who's the city administrator, and WDFW and the project engineer looking at the current conditions of the boat ramp. This early feedback on design and feasibility is critical for permitting. We've also had community meetings, just regular community meetings to provide updates to the community. American Whitewater has also helped organize community meetings so that user groups can hear from local officials about project progress and provide feedback. American Whitewater has been great in helping organize local user groups, and they have also provided a letter of support for this project. For partnerships, we have, again, those partnerships with American Whitewater, WDFW. We have our DNR aquatic lands acknowledgement. We have received some funding from Chelan County lodging tax, which funded the feasibility assessment and the 60% design. So there's already been a significant upfront investment in this project through the county. City of Kashmir has provided personnel support, and with our local match, we're relying on county, City of Kashmir, and Chelan Douglas Regional Port Authority to contribute funding to the project. Okay, I think I did that a little faster than 20 minutes, but happy to answer questions.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that. All right. Questions from the committee? Yeah, nice job. It's a lot of criteria to get through when you have the combo development restoration. So
Yeah, it is a really cool project in that it does touch on two really critical aspects of um, of our area. And yeah, this boat ramp is incredibly important for our economic impact for tourism in this area. I don't think that was one of the criteria, but yeah, this boat ramp is kind of the lifeblood of river recreation in this valley. So we really hope to be able to sustain its use and, as always, improve our ESA listed habitat in this river.
yeah, gotcha. Thanks. Reed, go ahead.
Aaron, you mentioned that wood structures can't be used. Is that just a safety thing with boaters, or is there something else going on there?
Yeah, no, it's a safety thing with boaters. There's people put in at this boat ramp and float through the side channel there. So it would just, and there isn't a regulation that says we can't do that. We wouldn't be able to put them into the river right bank at all because it's a rip-wrapped levee essentially, built a long time ago to protect the city from flooding. And the river left side, yeah, I think it would just be a conflict of interest there with the level of recreation, considering it is a direct access point with a lot of use. It would create dangerous conditions, even in high flows where people are getting out at the boat ramp. If they missed the boat ramp and went down the side channel, and then there'd be a bunch of wood structures there. So the workaround there is to promote the riparian vegetation. Oh, that's my timer. Promote the riparian vegetation on that left side as much as possible and try to get the shade cover and complexity that way.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Cindy.
Great, thank you. Great presentation. I just wondered, can we go back to slide 12, the project engagement community? I don't really have a question. It was just my husband decided to ask me a question and I just missed that slide. So thanks very much. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we try to stay as engaged with the local user groups, and honestly, they are very motivated in this in this regard. So it's easy to have a lot of touch points. And yeah, Steve with the city works directly with those groups. So this was a community meeting in May where there are a couple other topics, but the boat ramp was a highlighted was a important topic at this community meeting.
And did you have a pretty good showing of people show up?
Steve?
Yes, so we did have for a Kashmir community meeting, we had a decent amount of people, and we've had a lot of community express some interest in getting the boat ramp better utilized. So it's a safer, more efficient access. We got the infrastructure up on the ground out of the water to support a good boat launch, and a lot of citizens and the rafting community is very vocal that, hey, we need to do something sooner rather than later.
Okay, great. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any final questions from the committee? Chris?
Thank you. Great job. I'm curious, do you have any other experience doing like the mid-channel, or I'm sorry, mid-river islands with just the rock? I think it's just rock and plantings in there, right? Not wood, which I understand with the boaters, how that can be. Anyway, I understand. I'm just curious, like how that rock's gonna hold up. And I heard you say the engineers estimate 30 years, but rock is often quite deformable. So it feels weird building a rock island in the middle of the channel to build a side channel.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the bar already exists. It would be just like fortifying that, but then the large boulders to really create the split flow effect. We have done a couple other projects recently that have integrated boulder clusters, and not as like the key feature, but as part of a design. We just did the Upper Wenatchee floodplain restoration project, where there was a lot of use of large boulders placed in the mid channel. And I don't have that plan set at my fingertips to pull up, but it's definitely something that's been done before, and we would be looking at large boulders here.
Right. Right. And is this island pretty much underwater at like, higher spring flows or?
Yeah, I would say this this design set here is probably about 5,000 CFS, which is a very popular popular level. Definitely at the spring floods, the island would be underwater. But our kind of typical like raft guide where a lot of the outfitters are utilizing bringing folks down, which also just to add that those commercial outfits provide recreation opportunity for folks that wouldn't otherwise be able to experience whitewater use like this. So it's a great way to get more people on the river who wouldn't be comfortable doing it on their own. But yeah, at the design, the 60% design, the rocks would be above water at a mid flow like this at a 5,000 CFS. The water level fluctuates a lot in the Wenatchee. We get pretty robust spring floods. So there would be times when there isn't any access issues to the boat ramp because there's so much water in the river.
Right.
But I think at those mid to lower flows is really when it would hydraulically come into play. And those lower flows are when a lot of if the water's running slower through that side channel, that's when the aggradation is happening. So I think the key flow stage for this project would be those mid to low flows where it's coming into hydraulically activating. Those boulders are helping hydraulically activate and split flows.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any last clarifications or questions that the committee needs? Seeing any hands, so I think we're good to go. Thank you very much, Aaron, and also Steve for being here.
Thank you.
you.
All right, have a great day, guys.
You as well.
Right, we have arrived at our last break. A little ahead of schedule. Do you want to come back at like 12 minutes, 11:05? Is that enough of a quick break for folks? All right, 11:05, and we'll do our last two. All right, welcome back, folks. Couple more projects. Let's go this way. All right, starting with Vashon. Looks like Tim is here. Thanks so much, Tim, for joining early, ahead of schedule today. Get your presentation pulled up for you.
Running ahead of schedule, huh?
We are, yes.
Hey, well, that's great for all of you all.
Yeah,
These days can be long.
Get out of here a little earlier today.
Yeah, I'll try to help.
Can you see your PowerPoint okay?
I see it just fine.
Excellent. And I can pass you control or advance the slides, whatever your preference is.
I'll take control, Carl. Thank you.
Okay. There you are. All right. Go ahead and click on the screen and make sure that works for you.
Works.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool. All right. Whenever you're ready, go ahead. You got 20 minutes.
Well, hello, everyone. My name's Tim Stapleton. I'm with the Vashon Park District Executive Director out here, and do I have a project to talk to you about? This is our efforts to replace our Tramp Harbor dock here on Vashon. So I'll give you a little background about the project. Needless to say, it's a beloved landmark here on the island. In 1939, Standard Oil built it to bring petroleum products to the island. And then in about 85, it was converted to a public fishing pier because it was given to King County. And then in mid to late 90s, the Park District took over management of the pier as part of a big disposition of properties from King County to the Park District, which was pretty great. The project goals are most obvious ones to replace the pier. We have a lease with DNR that requires us to stop creosote leaching from the pilings, as well as to provide light to the tidelands and shorten the dock. The shortening's required due to travel rights. The point higher gooey duck track's right there, and we're in it, and it needs to come out of it. It also addresses structural integrity concerns, which we'll talk a little bit more about. We need to replace the bulkhead, beach access to the stairs, so the public can use them to recreate there in the aquatic area, and improve parking, which includes ADA. And really, we want to, there's not a lot of governments on the island, government bodies. And so we want to set the standard of what sustainability can look like here in a modern world. Well, Vashon. So where are we? Well, we're in the Puget Sound. Guess it, we're in Washington State. We're southwest of Seattle. The dock's on the east side of the island, which you can see there pictured. And about at the midpoint of Vashon. The island itself is the primary service area, but when the dock was open, it's heavily used by off-islanders. It's a super popular dock. There's not a lot of docks in rural settings like this where the birding and fishing and squidding and shellfishing is all there and available and peaceful and serene. So it's a pretty amazing place. The aerial view of the dock shows the parking and picnic area just to the north, and there's 300 feet of road parking to the south. Not great road parking, but it's there. A condition assessment was conducted in 2015, which found that 11 of the piles had deteriorated and posed significant safety concerns. And because our lease with DNR requires us to replace the present dock, it didn't make a lot of sense to spend the funds to repair that. So we had to close it to the public, which is sad, but also needed. It's unsafe. The bulkhead is failing and in danger of falling into the Puget Sound. I think that's pretty evident. Parking is informal on its best day, I would say, and that needs developed. There's no specified ADA. It's pretty unsightly. We have beautiful artists on the island, and also some who don't graffiti as beautifully as others. And I think these speak for themselves. You don't exactly look like they're leading to the serene environment of a Thailand. They look like they're maybe, pick your favorite horror movie. Replacing the dock, it restores what's lost, right? Which is fishing, squidding, bird and wildlife watching, and some other recreational uses that are really important, both to islanders and folks who visit. Replacing the stairs, right? That restores fishing as well, but I'm sorry, shell fishing and beach access recreation. Right now, people gotta enter on non-public land about 1,000 feet north and walk down. It's a pretty steep and failing bulkhead that runs along the road adjacent to the Thailand. This is the state of things, right? Pier's closed, and that meant beach access was as well. Replacing the pier and stairs to the beach restores opportunities for people to get, to the water and access the waterway for recreational purposes, and in a really safe and sustainable way. Improve parking with ADA and ADA pier access. When you do something that, or when you create access in a way that is accessible to most everyone, it's just a better experience for everyone. Much more of a broad social exercise, as well as not being limited just to folks who can access Thailand's by jumping off a pretty deteriorated bulkhead. Replacing the creosote piles and wood planking with sustainable building material with light to the tidelands, that creates a sort of pedestrian-oriented access while protecting the environmental integrity of the site. New beach stair access. This improves small and non-motorized boat and kayaking access as well. Full pier replacement, and again, the beach stair, this integrates public access that's compatible with the physical features of the site, which is about 308 feet of public shoreline. It also creates this amazing opportunity that does not exist at all, because we're the only public landowners there until you get pretty good ways north. I think there's a King County parcel that has some Thailand. To bring in new marine education signage so we can educate folks about what the marine environment is and how to protect it, and really educate the public on what we all know, which is just how finite of a natural resource and how irreplaceable it can be. The signage also needs to speak to the history of the site's native heritage and its historical uses, which are plenty. The environmental benefits are many. It protects, improves, and preserves the tidelands against toxic creosote release and the need for sunlight penetration to the tidelands below. Other environmental benefits, piers act as artificial reefs and harboring shallow water fish. The piles, depending on where you're from, or pilings, are covered with barnacles and other sea creatures that represent food. The water under a pier is often calm, which attracts small fish, and these may attract bigger fish as well. The project supports the Washington State Department of Natural Resources creosote piling removal program. It's been in place since 2007. The project has contributed to the removal of a lot of creosote piles. I used to manage a part of DNR that helped assign where the conservation crews went, and I know they were a large part of some of that stuff. Approximately 300 chemicals have been identified in coal tar creosote. We all know this stuff's bad. And the project reduces human exposure to this as well. It's not just the natural world as we often think of it, although humans are part of the natural world. So it protects us and improves the quality of nearshore habitat for forage fish and other key species. The project enhances other nearby protection efforts as well here on the islands. This includes the Maury Island Natural Area, which removed 150 of these creosote piles, and the Maury Island Aquatic Reserve, which protects large amounts of eelgrass, mudflats, and spawning ground. The project also supports DNR's Science of Creosote study, which identifies the need to remove these things, and that that toxicity of creosote can result in a high mortality rate for herring eggs. It increases disease and alters growth and reproductive function in English sole, and it affects juvenile salmonid that migrate through these contaminated estuaries, among many, many other things. This is a pretty cool project. It supports the Puget Sound Partnership Action Agenda Goal, which is the portion of the goal or the action agenda that says by 2030, 95% of the samples gathered across Puget Sound habitats exhibiting a declining trend in contaminant levels or are below threshold of concern for species or human health. So it also meets strategy 3, which reads healthy shorelines to have 930 tons of creosote removed. There's quite a bit of tonnage out there here. There's no other public facility like Tramp Harbor Dock on Vashon. Other relevant inventory in the service area includes Doctor Marina, which is the new King County Parks public pier, which we're happy to have and so glad they made that investment, but it is a boat marina. And the new Quartermaster Yacht Club Marina, which is private and fee-based. I think we all know what a yacht club is. Tramp Harbor Dock is the only public fishing pier on the island. And like all things Vashon Parks District, there are no fees for accessing these sites. We're healthily funded by a levy, which is more than enough to accommodate the maintenance and operations of a pier. Keep in mind, we inherited this one in significantly bad shape. There are 8 other beach access, 8 other beach access parks where fishing is allowed on shore, but there's a gap. This overwater marine environment experience for the recreational uses that occur on it is few and far between, and building new ones is very difficult. The beauty of this project is that it's self-mitigating and would be relatively easy to permit, having permitted, been a part of the permitting process for several in my career. Surveys tell us that 40% of people use the dock for wildlife watching, 22% for fishing, but there's many other uses, You can just access for the beach for a nice walk, shell fishing. They have a little picnic area. Scuba also ranked pretty high for scuba. Given its use, it stands to reason that the factors contributing to fluctuations in use include weather, fishing, and other wildlife availability. There's been a lot of community surveys about use here on Vashon. It seems like every organization is putting out some kind of survey, and we do as well because they're really important. We can get good information on it from it. But regular use occurs all throughout the day, whether it's fishing, bird watching, and just enjoying the overwater experience. It's absolutely gorgeous out there. If you haven't been, please go. During squid season, which is around November through January, off-islanders, a large portion of our immigrant community here in Washington, go out there and 20 or 30 people at a time are squidding. It's pretty wonderful. The 2023 community survey helped identify the project need at about a 43% rate. I'm going to speed up just a little bit. I think we've done a pretty good job here driving home the use. It's a very popular place. And get to scope of the project. The existing natural features, as I mentioned, is about 300 feet of public shoreline. There's the current pier that's there. It's 340 feet long. It's 11 feet wide and has 98 piles. The existing built features also include the 1,200 square foot picnic area, an 80-foot parking area to the north, plus the 300-foot road that folks park on, a 60-foot bulkhead and stairs down to the beach. What we propose is a new pier made of steel, graded, or some kind of fiberglass graded decking, and concrete piles. It'd be about 340 feet long. That includes the reduced platform, so it brings it out of the gooey duck track of 9 feet wide and 32 concrete octagonal piles. Again, we want to make it ADA access, rebuild that bulkhead. It needs rebuilt throughout the entire stretch of road, but try to be the anchor of a project to inspire King County and others to make that similar investment. Stairs to the beach with some bicycle rack, because you can't drive around Vashon Island and not pass a bicycle. Very popular. Purpose is to improve public access to overwater and beach recreation. That's the goal here, but also to meet the requirements of our lease. So there's some legal requirements here, and to create a structurally sound pier, improve parking, and again, just try to do things sustainably over here. I think everybody's committed to that. We've talked a lot about recreational opportunities. This is just a survey that shows some of the use. Wildlife watching is the most popular, but we have a lot of folks that fish here on the island. The design aligns with needs. So by restoring the pier and beach access with sustainable building materials, the location's fantastic. It's a deep water pier, and the project scope is improving these water access structures. The design addresses constraints by meeting requirements of our lease, as well as making this place accessible to more folks. I think it's all a value we care deeply about. So this is a pretty cool picture. This is an overlay of the new pier over the present pier. You can see it shortened by about 20 feet in this photo on the left. You can see lightly that sort of angular extent out where the current dock is that goes into the gooey duck track, and so we'll be pulling on it back. This is the overall structural plan for the new dock, bulkhead, parking, and stairs. The parking plans for 5 marked spaces, running about here. The plan for the new aluminum or aluminium, if it's where you're from, stairs to the beach. So the plan also calls for this new bulkhead with grading and drainage, which I think is interesting. They're all to show that the project is ready for permitting. For the bulkhead replacement, the reason for continuing with hard armoring as opposed to soft is that, due to the proximity of the roadway, which is directly adjacent, and then the extensive amount of fill that was put there to make that roadway, it's not practical or possible to build a pier without supporting that road. We need to replace that bulkhead, or else King County is going to lose that road. Essentially, to move to some soft armoring or a more natural transition between tideland and upland, the road from King County would need to be removed or build a bridge through there. Which, who knows, maybe in the future, that could be a really cool project for us to partner on. The project budget was compared by KPFF, that company who made this beautiful mock-up, to be approximately $3.2 million. This is a detailed budget breakdown. Again, this is to show that this is, we're ready to apply for permits and make this project happen. Design's at 100% completion for permitting purposes. There's always some back and forth that goes through there. We think there'll be 12 permits that we'll manage both ourselves because I have pretty extensive permitting experience, but also through the support of a contractor. And if funded, we'd start this in the spring, maybe the winter, but probably the spring and summer 2027. Again, it's a self-mitigating project, so permitting will be pretty easy on a project like this, even though it's a replacement of an overwater pier. So project engagement methods were email. We're a small town, so you got to hang up posters in towns. You got to send folks postcards. You got to get into the Beachcomber. It's online. You should check it out. It's good paper. And when there's a community festival, set up a booth and talk about it. We engage with our local marinas, the yacht club, and kind of through all this engagement work, we found about 64% of respondents rate this replacement as a high priority, which is really high in recreation when you ask people about the entire suite of recreation offerings on an island. So just to talk about some highlights, 2015 survey was conducted, and subsequent surveys, in 2017. We had a lot of respondents, and it was 10,000 people on the island, and we got close to 1,000 in each of those surveys in 2015 and 2017. There's a community meeting in 2019. There were others as well, but I think that was our largest one. In 2021, we met with Puyallup tribe at a council meeting to discuss, how to pull that dock out of that geoduck tract and the need to do that. And community engagement continues. It's kind of reduced down to a small set of stakeholders that represent larger groups and interests and community groups and neighborhoods. So it's pretty efficient communication now as we continue to sort through how to fund the project. From our community members, we learn which features mattered most. Really, to no one's surprise, it was like heavily on environmental protection. People don't want that creosote in the water. And public access. If we're going to invest state money in something, we should invest in state money in something that benefits all of us. And from the Puyallup tribe, that's where we learned about the footprint of the dock and how it is infringing on the tribal treaty rights and it needs to be pulled back. And we're absolutely committed to resolving that as well through this project. Partnerships with the project, there's a lot of them. The Parks Foundation, they're out fundraising for the project. They have a goal to raise $300,000 in support of it. If they're around 54 now, I think I'm confident they'll get there. They're a pretty nimble and scrappy group of people. We also work with the Vashon Bird Alliance, who protects birds in diverse natural habitats. It's a very, very popular birding spot. I gotta think, as far as over water, might be one of the best ones in the state. Also assisting with fundraising is the Sportsman's Club. Look, Sportsman's Club has been fantastic partners. They advance and work to conserve hunting and fishing opportunities here on the island. And I think they do a really great job. They've been excellent partners. And the Vashon Nature Center, who we partner with on a number of things, but who works really hard to create these incredible experiences for the folks here on the island, students, adults, seniors, to really educate and bring people into that sort of conservationist big tent. And the Vashon Heritage Museum, who are out there doing a good work, letting folks know that Vashon Island has a pretty long history and heritage, and folks should know what has happened here. Hey, thanks. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Tim. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, questions on this project from the committee? Reed, go ahead.
Thanks, Tim. Curious about the picnic zone. It looked like there's kind of Creo bulkhead wall in there, and curious which plans are for that, if that's in similar condition to the rest of it. And then also,
It is.
yeah, and then I guess also curious about long-term parking plans. If it's as popular as you say, it seems like maybe there are 4 or 5 spots, but that's probably an issue, huh?
Oh, great, right? So thank you. That bulkhead, that last photo is probably the best one to talk about. But that, that bulkhead needs replaced as well. It's not as bad condition, but it will need to be replaced. It's also a pretty slam dunk easy project to get a permit for because it's replacing in kind, with which there's virtually no restrictions, and a very, very straightforward sort of pillar lattice sort of design of an old bulkhead. But parking is, I think, like an incredible issue out there. So 4 or 5 spaces that include ADA, but in the I have an accent, by the way, the WWRP grant round, we're applying for some acquisition dollars to secure a parcel south, directly south of ours, that has this like very similarly developed to our park or to our picnic area cut out, and significant space for additional parking there. And what we're thinking is we'll maybe separate that water access for non-motorized boats down there, because often when you have people fishing and birding or wildlife watching, when you're directly adjacent, there seems to be some conflicts. People maybe hit a fishing line or scare off some wildlife that's being observed. And so keeping them up, separating it up there provides an opportunity for additional signage and things like that. So yeah, it's an issue, and it will be popular. In King County, I don't know if anybody here is from King County, but they're like the best partners in the world. Seriously. So they have a ton of priorities, but they always take like these issues very seriously with us. And as we're making investments, I have no doubt that they want to be there and be partners as well.
Thanks.
Great, thank you. Other questions or anything you need to clarify on this project?
Hey, Tim. Elise from King County here.
Elise, how you doing?
Good. Could you clarify, maybe I missed this, but when was the pier closed, and pending, these grant applications, sort of pending the funding, when you would anticipate construction and then access the reopening, the timeline?
Yeah. It's been sort of closed and opened a few times since around 2019, but permanently closed in late 2023.
Okay.
As far as timing goes, because we're permit ready and the permits aren't, like I said, I was at DFW and led our permitting division and in the HPA issuance, and so we work with the Corps and the other state agencies through permitting. And what's great about this one is that it is self-mitigating, in that we are removing things and putting things back smaller with less environmental impact, and that bulkhead's being replaced in kind. We're not looking to increase its height or width or take more of the sort of that forage fish habitat away. It's just a pretty cut and dry, straightforward project. And we would want to kick off the permitting. We've been investing, since 2023, we've been investing in the engineering of this project and have continued to do that. But have held off on sort of going down the full board permit route until we understand what the funding sources are going to be. But we would do that in the spring, summer next year if we knew the funding was coming to us. So during legislative session, usually around February, March, you kind of get an idea of what's going to be. Some of the big buckets are kind of already negotiated. So if we had a relative confidence that the grant programs were going to be funded in a way that hit our ranking, we would start our investment the park district's an incredibly healthy financial position. We're not in a build a $3.5 million or $3.2 million dock position, but we can do our part.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Any other questions from committee members? All right, seeing none.
Thanks, committee.
Go. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Have a great
Hope
day.
you have a good rest of the rankings.
Yep.
Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. See y'all. Bye.
All right. We've got one more, and we're headed not too far away, kind of around the horn over to Penn Met Parks, Gig Harbor Peninsula. And it looks like ALEA is here. Hello, ALEA. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, for sure. And this is our other property acquisition project. I think we saw one yesterday, and this is our other one. So can you see that okay, ALEA?
I can see that.
Okay, and I can pass you controls or, all right, I'll do that.
Please.
Go ahead and click on the screen, make sure that works. Looks like you got it.
Wonderful.
All right, well, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Well, thank you again. My name is ALEA Busich. I am the Executive Director of Peninsula Metropolitan Park District. This grant application seeks funding for the acquisition of the Hallstrom property. This is a 14.48 acre undeveloped waterfront parcel on Colvos Passage in Gig Harbor, Washington. The primary goal of this project is to secure this property to provide high quality water access for our community. Acquiring this property will expand Penn Met Park's network of natural parks, protect a beautiful stretch of undeveloped shoreline, and create a new public space that is centered around passive recreation and water access. This property is located in Pierce County in Washington State, near Gig Harbor, south of Seattle and west of Tacoma. The location is indicated by the red dot on the map. Penn Met Park's service area is shown on the right on this slide with a red star indicating the target property location. The maps to the left show the site in more detail, extending between Hallstrom Drive on the west and Colvos Passage on the east. This acquisition is composed of 2 parcels. This property is well suited for a new district park with water access and a beautiful beach on Colvos Passage. It will provide new opportunities for our community to get to the water, to learn about Puget Sound marine life, and to enjoy a variety of water-based activities. This property extends all the way out to extreme low tide and is then followed by state-owned aquatic lands and a geoduck tract as confirmed by the Department of Natural Resources. Pedestrian access and non-motorized watercraft usage will be managed to protect the integrity of the natural environment. Interpretive and educational signage will be posted to inform and educate park users of the shoreline and marine environments. Water-based recreation opportunities can include wading, picnicking, wildlife viewing, beach walks and exploration, educational programming, non-motorized watercraft launching, and nature enjoyment. The beach is easily accessed from the upland portion of the property and offers exceptional opportunities for walking, exploring, and experiencing this area's natural habitat and marine life. During our site visit, we were greeted by deer in the upland forest, and after we reached the shoreline, we watched these orcas playing just offshore. One of the Park District's goals, as defined in our comprehensive Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Plan, is to cultivate exceptional programs for all district residents. We continue to develop a diverse program portfolio that includes a variety of outdoor programs for all ages and abilities. Acquisition of this property will allow Penn Met Parks to expand outdoor environmental education opportunities at another waterfront park in a very strategic location. This property will provide walking trails for people of all ages, and the beautiful scenery, vegetation, and variety of wildlife will provide a high-quality recreational experience. Numerous species of birds have been documented near this site on eBird. Marine birds and bald eagles are frequently seen along Colvos Passage, and the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife Priority Species Map shows a listed occurrence of the mouse-eared bat at this location. The upland forested property also provides opportunities for integrating and expanding environmental programs for all ages. Some examples of current programs include Wilderness Skills Camp, a Junior Explorers Camp, Junior Hikers Group, a Senior Birders program, birding program, family birding walks, as well as many other rotating recreational and educational programs that provide year-round opportunities for our community to explore the local habitat and wildlife. This property is ideally located and has multiple potential access points, including from Hallstrom Drive, from 125th Street Northwest, 126th Street Northwest, and lower access off of 120th Street via a cul-de-sac that's located on 3rd Avenue Court Northwest, much closer to the beach. Creating public access to this property will be accomplished in a way that is compatible with the physical features of the site and causes minimal disturbance. The upland forest has some existing trails and it slopes naturally to the beach. There is also an existing trail that leads directly to the beach from the cul-de-sac off of 3rd Avenue Court Northwest. That trail is just to the left of this cabin on this slide, and it links the shoreline to the upland portion of the property and connects the cul-de-sac just to the left of this cabin near the beach. This trail corridor is already well defined and can be easily improved by Penmet Park's maintenance crews with volunteer support. As part of this project, Penmet Parks will demolish the primitive cabin consistent with RCO's requirement for demolition of structures. New interpretive signage will increase public awareness of aquatic lands as a finite natural resource with irreplaceable public heritage. Adding wayfinding, boundary, and educational signage will help manage public access, increase public awareness of aquatic lands, and protect shoreline and intertidal habitat. We currently partner with Harbor Wild Watch, which inspires stewardship through education and environmental monitoring and data collection. Beach walks at Penmet Park's waterfront locations provide community education, and volunteers collect meaningful data to help learn about and protect the environment. Acquisition of this site provides an opportunity to expand those programs at a strategic location. This slide shows a future conceptual design for this park. Although the parking area and amenities are not part of this acquisition project, the drawing shows how the site could be enhanced while still protecting the integrity of its natural environment. The property is about 1,800 feet from Hallstrom Drive to Colvos Passage, with an elevation of 240 feet at Hallstrom Drive and about 10 feet at the beach. Meandering trails would provide a comfortable walk to the beach. ADA accessible parking and picnic areas are envisioned for the upland site with the incorporation of accessible trails wherever possible. The lower site, which is shown in Plan View B on this slide, includes a parking area for drop-off of human-powered craft and ADA accessible parking with a trail to an ADA viewpoint. The site is about 350 feet wide at the beach, and an accessible trail to the beach would require switchbacks from an ADA viewpoint, which is located at about 70-foot elevation. Feasibility of that trail would be determined during future design and permitting. This acquisition would permanently conserve a high-value shoreline ecosystem that is currently for sale and vulnerable to residential development. Acquisition prevents a future shoreline modification, vegetation clearing, and bluff disturbance, ensuring that this site remains protected as parkland rather than converted to private use. The lower parcel is designated Conservancy and Aquatic under Pierce County shoreline classifications, reflecting its ecological sensitivity and importance for nearshore habitat. Public ownership would ensure long-term stewardship consistent with those designations. A major environmental benefit is the removal of the shoreline cabin, which directly advances regional restoration priorities. The property lies within the Puget Sound Nearshore Ecosystem Restoration Project Shoreline Process Unit 4034, which is rated Restore High. Removing the structure allows the feeder bluff and beach to resume natural erosion and sediment delivery processes, strengthening long-term shoreline resilience. Washington Department of Ecology's Coastal Atlas map identifies an active feeder bluff at this location. This shoreline also supports patchy eelgrass beds to the south, an important habitat for juvenile salmon, invertebrates, and marine species. Protecting the shoreline from further development reduces shading, armoring risk, and water quality impacts, helping to maintain conditions that are favorable for eelgrass growth. Outdoor recreation on the Gig Harbor Peninsula includes Penmet Parks, District Parks, City of Gig Harbor Parks, and Kopachek State Park. While there is currently similar shoreline access at 5 locations throughout the Penmet Park service area, 4 of the 5 locations are located in the southern portion of the district, leaving this geographic area relatively underserved by public beach access. This map shows the Hallstrom property on the upper right. It's marked with a red star. This location highlights a gap in recreation opportunities and shoreline access between Sunrise Beach Park just to the south and Maplewood to the north. Acquiring this site would help to fill that gap by adding new public water access, beach exploration, and walking and hiking opportunities, all of which are in direct alignment with community and district priorities. This property provides excellent potential for human-powered watercraft access and sits between 2 Kitsap National Water Trail sites on Colvos Passage, Sunrise Beach to the south and the Olalla Boat Launch and Lagoon to the north, enhancing regional connectivity for paddlers and other non-motorized craft users. Penmet Parks has conducted extensive outreach to listen and learn about our community's priorities for parks and recreation services. Input received during the development of the district's 5-year strategic plan, as well as our PROS plan, told us that our community values preserving natural resources and balances providing active recreation opportunities for everyone to enjoy with preservation. During PROS plan outreach, our community identified walking and hiking trails and water access as its top 2 priorities. This acquisition project directly advances both of those priorities. As noted earlier, the Hallstrom property is undeveloped with forested uplands and a natural waterfront beach, making it an ideal location for a new park. The project scope includes acquisition of the shoreline property, cultural resources, and bidding and demolition of the primitive beach cabin that's currently located on the site. Following demolition, Penmet Parks maintenance crews will install park signage and complete trail improvements to prepare this property for public access. Existing informal trails connect the upland forest to the shoreline and to a nearby cul-de-sac. These routes will be cleared, stabilized, and improved. Once demolition, trail work, and signage installation are complete, the property will open for passive outdoor recreation, including walking and hiking, beach access, kayaking, paddleboarding, wading, wildlife viewing, and nature exploration. As shown earlier in the conceptual plan, a future phase could include development of a small parking area, additional trails, and amenities like picnic shelters and benches to support public use. Given the condition of the shoreline cabin, demolition is expected to be straightforward and completed quickly. Demolition is included in the project budget with means and methods to be determined by the contractor. As described earlier, removing this cabin also provides significant environmental benefit due to the site's location. The existing trail to the cabin and beach, which is just to the left of the cabin in this photo, links the shoreline to the upland portion of the property. As previously mentioned, this well-defined trail corridor may be improved by Penmet Park staff with volunteer support to enhance public access to the beach. Existing informal forest and beach trails, shown here, will be cleared and improved by Penmet Park's maintenance staff with support as appropriate through volunteer efforts. This site offers a wonderful opportunity to include in Parks Appreciation Day and allows community participation at a new neighborhood park. Once demolition, trail work, and signage are complete, the property will be open for passive recreation, with a potential future phase that could add parking and amenities. This property is currently listed for sale on the Northwest MLS for the first time in over 90 years. It's located on Colvos Passage with 351 feet of prime saltwater frontage and has sweeping views of Colvos Passage, Vashon Island, Point Defiance, and the Vashon Ferry. The proposed project permanently conserves this high-value shoreline and forested upland that is presently for sale and zoned for residential development. The rustic cabin on the beach would be demolished by PennMet Parks, but could provide some development opportunity for others. Pierce County has indicated that this property could potentially be divided into 3 lots from its current 2, providing further development opportunity. This property is also easily accessed from Hallstrom Drive with secondary access near the beach off 125th Street Northwest, where a community of Waterview homes is presently located. Waterfront property like this in the Gig Harbor area is highly sought after. There is significant pressure to acquire such properties for single-family homes. Although the owners are excited about the property potentially becoming a park, the property remains listed and is at risk of being purchased at any time. The acquisition by PennMet Parks would provide substantial environmental benefit by permanently conserving a high-value shoreline ecosystem that is currently for sale and vulnerable to residential development. Acquisition prevents future shoreline modification, vegetation clearing, and bluff disturbance, ensuring the site remains protected as public parkland rather than developed and converted to private use. If the project is not funded, the opportunity to provide permanent public access will be lost. PennMet Parks Maintenance and Operations site will maintain this property in perpetuity. There are currently just over 16 FTEs responsible for park maintenance with an annual budget of just over $2.3 million. That's available for the stewardship and maintenance of parks, which would appropriately support the maintenance of and management of this property. Additionally, as previously noted, PennMet Parks works extensively with volunteer groups which assist with trail and other maintenance. PennMet Parks has adopted the strategic goals to choose sustainable practices and to incorporate specific maintenance and operations, procedures, and policies to reduce our environmental footprint. For example, we manage our parks to incorporate drought-tolerant plants, native plants, removal of invasive species, and forest management to mitigate the risk of fires and damage from extreme weather. Community input and priorities are reflected in our 5-year strategic plan and in our comprehensive PROS plan. Multiple outreach methods were used to generate community input, including presentations to the park board, user focus group sessions, stakeholder interviews, a public open house, and a community-wide statistically valid survey. Ongoing engagement throughout these planning processes was also supported and available through a customized ADA accessible and multilingual website. Survey data was weighted by age and ethnicity within the district to help ensure appropriate representation of residents across different demographics in the sample. Using U.S. Census Bureau data, the population, age, and race distributions in the total sample were adjusted to match the actual population profile of the district more closely. Community input received during the PROS planning process clearly demonstrated a strong desire for additional waterfront access and expanded walking and hiking opportunities. In response, PennMet Parks established a dedicated acquisition fund within our capital improvement plan, ensuring annual allocations that position the district to act on strategic opportunities like this one. We've received many letters of support for the acquisition of this waterfront property for public access. The project has been vetted with community members and groups, local government, state legislature, and conservation organizations. There is strong support, including from the City of Gig Harbor, Great Peninsula Conservancy, Pierce Conservation District, Harbor Wild Watch, Peninsula School District, Visit Gig Harbor, Washington State 26th Legislative District, the Gig Harbor Chamber of Commerce, Pierce County, and Visit Tacoma Pierce County. We currently work with Great Peninsula Conservancy and Pierce Conservation District to conserve land for parks and have formal partnership agreements in place with Peninsula School District and Harbor Wild Watch. We work closely with our partners and we share goals for the betterment and cost-efficient maintenance of our parks. Many hours of volunteer labor go into maintaining parks, along with volunteer monitoring efforts by Harbor Wild Watch, as shown on the photo to the left. PennMet Parks maintenance staff will work closely with volunteers to provide cost-effective trail maintenance and learning opportunities at our park properties, including this one. PennMet Parks recently, as mentioned, formalized a partnership with Harbor Wild Watch to fund community environmental education, data collection, and environmental monitoring at several district saltwater beaches. If this project is funded, it would be an excellent candidate to expand that work. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We are excited about this opportunity to enhance public water access within our district.
Great, thank you, Allie. Appreciate that. Right, questions from the committee? Heather, go ahead.
Thanks, Ellie. Great presentation. I think you addressed this maybe a little during technical review, but I can't quite recall what you said about just thinking about the threat to this property. It seems like it could be purchased at any time. What's the status on having some kind of an option agreement or holding? I mean, if you don't receive funding until, you know, if you rank high enough, if you don't get funding until next July, like what have you guys worked on in terms of that?
Thank you for that question. So we are beginning to explore what that could look like and what mechanisms we could put into place that could be agreeable to all of the parties that could help to secure this property in between now and when funding could potentially become available. That's something that we can continue to explore, knowing that that is a real threat.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Other questions from the committee or anything you want to clarify? Right, I'm not seeing any other hands. So I think looks like we're good to go. I think you touched on everything. Thank you, Allie. Appreciate that. All right. Well, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Sure. All right. Thank you, everyone. If committee members and RCO staff want to hang on just a minute while we wrap up, then we can have a little follow-up discussion. But that brings us to the end of our grant evaluations for the Aquatic Lands Enhancement Account for 2026 applications. We had 16 projects at a day and a half here. So thank you so much to all of our advisory committee members for being here, staying engaged, helping us out. Thanks also to our applicants. The result of this will result in a ranked list, preliminary ranked list, which we shared with our board in late October, which then gets submitted via the governor's office to the legislature for eventual funding. And with any luck, we'll have some money July 2027 and be able to fund several of these great projects that we just heard. So yeah, thank you very much once again.